Thank you for joining the Advancing Excellence podcast. In this episode, we are discussing how to conduct effective focus groups, a very important topic for AEC marketers. Feedback from your target audience is crucial for refining messages, understanding barriers, and building connections. Let's begin the podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Advancing Excellence podcast. I'm your host, Janice Kleins, Director of Marketing here at AOE. Today, we're diving into a topic that's essential for AEC marketers, how to conduct effective focus groups. Joining me is Drew Burns, our Director of Client Strategy and the author of a fantastic blog on this very topic. Drew, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Janice. I'm excited to be here and talk about one of my favorite tools for gathering marketing insights.
So let's start with the basics. Drew, why are focus groups such a valuable tool for AEC marketers?
That's a good question. Focus groups are invaluable because they give you direct insight into the perceptions, the motivations, and the preference your target audience has. For AEC marketers, this qualitative feedback is really crucial for refining your messaging, understanding barriers to purchasing or becoming a member or being a donor, and building stronger connections with stakeholders. It's not just about gathering data, which we get a lot of in the marketing world. It's about uncovering the why behind those numbers.
That's such an important distinction. Now, in your blog, you mentioned that defining objectives is the first and most critical step. Can you explain why that's so important?
Absolutely. And I feel like I sound a little bit like a broken record on these podcasts because I keep saying that objectives and goals are really important to the start of any project. But without clear objectives, your focus group can quickly lose direction. Your objectives guide everything you do all the way from your participant selection to the questions that you're asking during the focus group, and even to when you're preparing a report post focus group. For example, when we worked with the American Concrete Institute Foundation, we had very specific goals. Three of them, actually. One was understanding donor motivations. We wanted to identify barriers to contribution to the foundation, and we wanted to test some messaging strategies. Those clear objectives ensured that every part of the process was focused on gathering actionable insights to help further those goals.
That makes a lot of sense. So speaking of participants, how do you go about recruiting the right people for your focus groups?
This is really important, and it's all about quality over quantity. You want a representative sample of your target audience. So if you've broken down your audience into different segments, that's really important first step to do. And segmentation is key. So for instance, you might separate early career professionals from industry veterans to explore different perspectives. Incentives are also important. They show you value participants' time, and clear communication is a must. Your invitation to these participants should explain the purpose of the focus group, the time commitment that they're expected to make, and any other incentives that they might receive for their time.
These are great tips. Now let's talk about the logistics. What are some best practices for conducting in-person versus digital focus groups?
Yeah, so both formats have their strengths. In-person focus groups are great for fostering natural and free-flowing conversation, and you can really read body language and build rapport more easily. For these, choose a comfortable venue, use a U-shaped type seating arrangement, and have tools like whiteboards or projectors on hand that help make things easier and the conversation flow more freely. Digital focus groups, on the other hand, are more convenient and cost-effective, especially for geographically diverse audiences. The key here is technical preparedness, making sure everyone's camera and microphones work, and use interactive tools like polls or virtual whiteboards to keep participants engaged.
It sounds like preparation is key for sure, no matter what the format. What about the role of the moderator? How can they ensure the conversation stays productive?
Sure, the moderator's job is to guide the conversation, not to dominate it. Starting with broad, open-ended questions to warm up the group is a good practice, and then diving deeper into specific topics. For example, you might ask, what are your initial impressions of our organization's mission? and then follow up with what barriers, if any, make it difficult to engage with us. Active listening is crucial. You got to pay attention to what is said and what isn't. Use follow-up questions like, can you tell me more about that, to encourage deeper exploration. And don't forget to ensure all voices are heard. A lot of times, some people will get talking during a focus group and dominate the conversation. And you can gently redirect dominant speakers and create space for quieter participants.
That's such a thoughtful approach for sure. Once the focus group is over, how do you turn all that conversation into actionable insights?
That's where the real work begins. Start by transcribing the discussion. If you're recording it, that's a very useful tool as well, but you want to make sure you get everyone's consent when recording a conversation like this. And then highlight reoccurring themes. Pull out powerful quotes and points of consensus or disagreement on various topics. Then you can synthesize the feedback based on your initial objectives. For example, if you wanted to understand donor motivations, grouping the feedback into categories like emotional feedback, professional feedback, or altruistic drivers is a good way to do that. Finally, develop actionable recommendations. Don't just summarize what was said, propose what could be done next. If participants were confused by your messaging, maybe recommend revising your website copy. If they want more networking opportunities, suggest creating a new event series.
These are great recommendations. Drew, what's one piece of advice you'd give to marketers who are new to focus groups?
I would have to say don't overcomplicate it. Start with clear objectives, recruit the right participants. That's a big one, getting the right people there. And focus on creating a comfortable environment for open dialogue. And remember, the goal isn't just to gather data, it's to gain insight that drive meaningful action.
Great advice for sure. Drew, thank you so much for sharing your expertise today. I know our listeners will find this incredibly valuable.
Thanks for having me, Janice. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Advancing Excellence podcast. If you'd like to learn more about conducting focus groups or access other marketing resources, visit our website at aoeteam.com. Be sure to like and subscribe this podcast so that you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep striving for excellence.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Advancing Excellence podcast. If you have any comments or questions, please get in touch with us at info@aoeteam.com. Don't forget to follow AOE on LinkedIn at Advancing Organizational Excellence, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode.